Then he told this parable. A man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came looking for fruit on it and found none. So he said to the gardener, "See here, for 3 years I have come looking for fruit on this fig tree, and still I find none. Cut it down. Why should I be wasting the soil?" He replied, "Sir, let it alone for 1 more year, until I dig round it and put manure on it. If it bears fruit next year, well, good. But if not, you can cut it down." Today's parable is a little odd, isn't it? It leaves us with many more questions than answers. Who is the man who planted the fig tree? Why would he plant a fig tree in a vineyard? Vineyards are for grapes. Didn't he know that it takes at least 3 years for a fig tree to bear fruit? Clearly, he doesn't know what he's doing. Thankfully, he has the good sense to ask the gardener what's going on. And thankfully, the gardener is willing to put the work into it to make it bear fruit. But will it bear fruit? And who is this gardener anyways? Why would the man be so cruel as to cut down the tree if it doesn't bear fruit the following year? We don't know exactly why Jesus told this parable, what he intended his original audience to take away from it. For certain, there have been countless interpretations for centuries. In Matthew and Mark's gospel, the story is told differently. In those gospels, Jesus rebukes the fig tree for not having any fruit, and it withers and dies. That's pretty cruel, isn't it? Definitely not the image of a God that is slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love and compassion. In Matthew and Mark's Gospels, it's easier to sympathize or mourn for the fig tree. In today's Gospel from Luke, the man who planted the tree is persuaded by the gardener to wait a year after he has tended to it. In a way, Luke is sympathetic to the fig tree, unlike Mark and Matthew. And rather than depicting Jesus as cursing the tree and causing it to die, Luke gives it time. Luke gives us time to bear fruit. Like Luke, I think we can all sympathize with a fig tree, perhaps because we often feel as if our worth is defined and measured by what we produce. We know the pressure to produce outcomes under stress without support and without the resources can be unbearable. And like the fig tree, many of us journey through in-between seasons, undefined and uncertain chapters when we don't quite know if any change is or can take place. Last week, we talked about the need for action and contemplation. In a way, contemplation is that growing time when the fig tree isn't just gathering strength, but also building relationships. As it turns out, most young fig trees need a minimum of 3 years for it to bear fruit. What's happening is the soil-borne fungi are finding home in the roots of the tree, boosting the tree's capacity to resist disease and take in nutrients. Like the fig tree, we too need to slow down, reflect, contemplate, breathe, extend, and deepen our relationship roots. This can all be a challenge in our on-demand, instant gratification culture. This can all be a challenge in this time of great anxiety in our society, where all we want are for the stressors to end and everything to go back to normal. No more anxiety over the trade war with the US. No more anxiety over inflation and the cost of living. No more anxiety over the changing climate. We want things to change now. And they will, God willing. But today, we're called in this parable to slow down, reflect, contemplate, breathe, and extend and deepen our roots. What's more, we're called to be more like the gardener, who in the face of uncertainty practices patience, hope, trust, discernment, resilience, and openness as he tends to the roots and soil. Now, I've been a teacher and a university instructor. I'm a parent. I know what it's like to be impatient with students, with our own children. I want them to get it quickly. Many of you have been or are in careers driven by outcomes, and many jobs out there do not value taking things slow. And so it can be hard for us to change how we've been trained. But today, we're called to slow down and reflect, to allow the beautiful fertilizer of our faith to permeate our roots, to allow the years of faith formation influence our lives, relationships, and actions. In the book some of us studied, Pastor McLaren calls readers to an inward migration. In this migration, we leave our culture, our economy, our civilization, even though we still live within its borders. We migrate away from constant buying and selling, burning and profiting, extracting and exploiting, celebrating high profits, ignoring record high temperatures. When we make this inward migration, you discover a freedom of mind, like Jesus had in his preaching from town to town. When you make this inward migration, you'll be able to see the ugliness more clearly in the world. And after you notice it, grieve it, and feel furious about it, you commit yourself to fighting the ugly with the practice of the beautiful and joyful, celebrating and adding to the beauty that already abounds, celebrating the goodness in the world. I think that's what it means to bear fruit, to fully see the ugliness, but to commit to fighting it by seeing the beauty that abounds, by living lives of faith, hope, love, and joy. And so I invite you to hold this call to bear fruit in your mind and heart as we listen to another poem by Reverend Sarah Speed titled Slow Growth.